they're improving, but Gianluca's got an ankle injury. Mick had a calf strain, so we're hoping that they'll both get a chance. But I've got to say they're both been doubtful. But I think all the clubs at the moment in time in the Premier League, you'll never know who's fit and available, and also who's returned yet from the games in the World Cup.
Jared obviously can play centrally.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel you have adequate cover in that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. I think Jared's more than capable if we need to do so. And over the last few years, we changed Marko Arnautovic from a wide player into a centre forward. We've done a little bit the same with Mickey Antonio. So who's to say it won't be Jared who's next?
What about at the back? What about Najib Fekir, who we saw played really well in the World Cup for Morocco, had that fantastic journey then, had the injury, didn't feature in the semi-final. What's his status?
Well, he had a virus and he had an injury as well, so that didn't help. So obviously they were also part of the reasons for his non-playing in the game he came off, in the game that he didn't start. So he's not back in yet, but we're hoping he'll be back tomorrow, and we'll have a look to see how he is.
His performance in the early games for Morocco, did it give us a glimpse of the player he can be for this?
Well, I've said for a while, we signed him a year ago. We wanted him the year before, we couldn't get him, and we've waited a long time. I thought he played well the games that he played. He's a really good footballer, so hopefully he'll add to us and improve us in the second half of the season.
You talked about the World Cup giving your players a physical break. I think you played the 24 matches more than anyone else. What about some time for you to analyse the first half of the season, maybe think about how you integrate the number of new players you brought in the summer?
Yeah, look, there's a lot of things we did. We've looked to see if where we can improve, what we should be doing better, and obviously there's lots of room for improvement. So we've tried to work towards it. I've got to say the players have showed a brilliant attitude since coming back. They recognise that we have to. But I wouldn't say that it's always been play better exactly, but I think we've got to try and be a little bit more clinical, certainly when we're trying to score, and obviously be that little bit more ruthless defensively when we need to be as well.
Couple of your players, I suppose, I think about Declan Rice and Lucas Paqueta, would have wanted to have gone further in the World Cup at good tournaments. How do you assess their mindset in joining?
Well, they've been back a few days training, so I'm hoping that they'll be fine. Obviously, they've had no, if you want to call it friendlies, but they don't need it because they're just 2 weeks ago finished playing games for their countries. So I think both of them played really well for their country. I think they probably are both disappointed that they didn't go further. But look, the focus now is on West Ham, getting them back in good condition and playing at their best levels.
Just last one for me. You believe that you can be in a battle for European football again this year, that it won't be a relegation struggle. Why are you so confident about it?
I think we've got a really good team. I don't think we've shown it as well as we should do at the moment. I think we have to play better, but there's obviously lots of clear signs. We have to score more goals, and we probably have to create more as well. So they're the things that are standing out for us. So hopefully we can do that. I've got a lot of belief in the boys we've brought in. I think we've got a strong squad. We've got a European competition to come in March, which we're we're ahead as well. We're getting towards and preparing. But really, the big thing at the moment is to get a good run in the Premier League and hopefully another good run in the FA Cup if we can.
Hi, David.
Hi.
We spoke before the break, and you weren't sure if this time, this World Cup period, would be good or bad for the team. Can you talk us through what you did during that time with the team, and was it beneficial in the end?
Well, I think when I look back, I think it was beneficial. I think we needed a break. I think all the players needed the break. We did. We'd played so many games quickly as well. So I think we gave the players some time off. We didn't go away. We've been here at Rush Green through the snow and all other parts in recent weeks like everybody else. But we've also had a couple of closed door games or friendly games, and they've all gone quite well for us. So the biggest thing for us is to try and find that little bit of momentum which we had plenty of in the last couple of seasons and get back to the levels we were at before.
We're entering another festive period. You've known many of those as a Premier League manager. Is it a period that's exciting for you?
Well, it's an exciting period for any football supporter, and if you're brought up a football supporter and you're from the UK, it's very exciting. I think if you come from the other countries or you look at it, where maybe they don't play over like Christmas and Boxing Day, I think quite often people would say, how stupid is that? Why are you playing so many games over Christmas and New Year? And I think we all probably think that, but it's very much part of our culture. And certainly if I wasn't a manager or I hadn't been a player, I would have been out watching it, watching other teams play over the Christmas and New Year.
You're facing Arsenal. Do you think it's the best time to face them after a period of not playing competitive matches?
I think the best time to face Arsenal was about 3 years ago. Yeah, I think that's when they were. I think probably since Mikel's come in, he's done a brilliant job, got them going. They've won a couple of trophies. They've sort of gone against the grain a wee bit where people thought it wouldn't happen, and they've produced a very good team. So, yeah, 3 years ago I think would have been a good time probably.
Just last one from me. Mikel said you played an important part in his career. Is it exciting to face him now as a manager?
It's as a manager to get players who go into management and do well and see them doing well. It's a great thrill, really is, and not always just do well, because it's hard to do well. But I think like Mikel was always someone who had his own mind. He's had a really good career, and he's worked under Arsene Wenger as well, who would have given him a great idea in how things should be done at Arsenal Football Club. He's worked under Pep, who arguably could be the best manager, certainly in this period. So he'll have picked up a lot of good advice from those managers. But he was a clever boy as well, and like everybody else, maybe when things were a little bit difficult and a lot of people were on his back, he stuck at it and kept it going, and he ended up coming through, which quite often managers need. They need that little bit of time to get through a difficult period, and credit to Arsenal board for not buckling at the time and doing anything stupid.
Charlie?
Hi, David.
Hi there.
I just want to ask you a bit more on Mikel Arteta. You actually signed him on loan in
Yeah, I did.
the January transfer window. What did you like about him as a player, and what was it like to manage him as well?
Well, it's a difficult thing to say. Sometimes when you're signing players, you're never quite sure. Mikel had gone up to Glasgow Rangers, and I'd watched him play for Rangers, and he had just done okay, but we'd been watching, and my staff were saying, no, we should take him. So my staff were very good around it, so we brought him in on loan. And actually, at the start, he was a bit slow in starting, but once he got going, he became a super player for us. And actually, sometimes there's things in your journey at a football club which change it. Players change it. The players change the culture a little bit as well, and our culture started to change. We brought in Mikel Arteta, Steven Pienaar, and suddenly their footballing ability and the different types of players they were. Leon Osman was emerging as a really talented player. So we'd started to change the culture. Mikel was a huge part of that at the time as well. So it was a strange, but we went on and we signed him permanently. I think it might have been about 3 million maybe at the time from, I think it was Real Sociedad who he'd gone back to. But really, he'd been in the UK before with Glasgow Rangers, and it hadn't quite worked. So I wouldn't say it was a gamble, but it was one of the ones we took, and given him time, he was a really good player.
And I know it's not your team, but how impressed have you been sitting back and seeing how well this Arsenal team have done this season? Would you say, out of the 3 years he's been in charge, this is the toughest Arsenal team that you will face?
Of course, and I think that Arsenal have a great team, so you can't compare any team just now to any great Arsenal teams of the past, and that would be wrong to do so. But I think if you're talking about in recent time, they were getting criticised so much. Arsenal, I found it hard to believe when I was looking and saying, I think they're building a good team. I could see Smith Rowe, I could see Saka. They had Martinelli in the youth team at the time, And I'm starting to think to myself, as my goodness, people are not seeing this right here, and a lot of journalists who were thinking that way at the time, and maybe quite a few would say it. I don't know if they'd come out and say that that's the way they thought at that time, but I've got to say, I thought they were a really good team on the making, Arsenal, and I think they are now.
Emma?
I suppose on that note, David, hello, talk about Arsenal showing some patience with a manager who's under a bit of pressure. Do you feel that you're under pressure here at all?
No. I've had great conversations with David Sullivan, and actually, as you get older, you don't feel the pressure as much. It's not quite the same as at different times, and what you understand as you get older, you go through difficult times as well as good times, and we've had 2.5, 3 years of great times here, and sometimes there's dips, and that's the times you need strong board members and supporters to get behind the team and everybody to pull together.
I've seen it reported that you said recently that you're not expecting to be very busy in January.
No.
Why is that?
Because mainly we spent our money. The board gave us the money to spend in the summer, and we spent most of our money in the summer. So I would only think we would get busy if something really came up, or maybe there was a necessity because of an injury or something like that. That would probably be the only way we would do it.
On a separate note, it's often said that West Ham won the World Cup, but they had a little bit of help from a player from Fulham. I just wanted your reaction to the sad news about George going today.
Yeah, I've got to say it's really sad news. I didn't know George myself, but obviously you always remember the great players, and you always remember players who were influential in different things, and it was really sad to hear. And my thoughts go to his family.
They have had a look at all of the VAR decisions from the first half of the season, and one of the mistakes that they accepted they made was the goal that you should have been awarded at Chelsea. How do you feel about that? I just wonder how you feel about them looking back at those decisions, reassessing them, and maybe what might have been.
I admire them more for coming out and saying that they got it wrong, because we move on. We can't do anything about it. We can't change it. But sometimes you need small things to go for you in the games. Recently, there's been a lot of small margins, whether it be in the World Cup or whether it be in the Premier League. Small things matter a lot, and on the day that was important to us. But overall, it's gone. We've moved on from it.
What about how Weve returning to English football?
Yeah, I hope it works. They've had over the years, they've had good people in the role, so hopefully Howard can come in and do that.
Finally for me, it sort of feels like a restart to the season. Are you going to have that attitude towards it and not be looking at previous results?
Yeah, definitely. But this season, if you put these 15 games or so in perspective, if you look at the other 60 we played the last year and probably 55 or something the year before, you'd have to say, if you put them in perspective, you say we've been doing really well. So we've got to try and get it in the right place, and that's what we're doing. But yeah, we'll have to be positive. We're going to have to try and play well, score more goals than we've done in the first half of the season, and cause teams more problems than we've done.